जलवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरावनचारि यमुना तीरावनचारि राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतेरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। So today is a very special day, the day for Gundicha Marjanam, also Gadadhar Pandit's disappearance day and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. And within 15-20 minutes, it's very difficult even to introduce one of the personalities. Each one of them at least requires a couple of hours to do justice, but let's see. I try to combine the three pastimes and try to extract a common mood which we can meditate on this beautiful day. So before we begin, I would like to offer prayers unto our Vaishnava Acharyas. Please join me in that. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadanyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padabrahma Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakhanvitamsra He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Pranamami Hare Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Good morning, everyone. My humble obeisances to all the seniors and assembled devotees. So, whatever we all in this beautiful movement started by Srila Prabhupada in the line of Rupa Goswami, following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whatever we are learning is essentially because about 550 years ago, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with his associates in the land of Navadvip, trying to reveal the highest ecstasies and the highest experiences a human being can gain through loving devotional service of Krishna. It would not be possible in Kali Yuga to decipher the beautiful pastimes which are mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam and in all the loving literatures if it was not for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described by a beautiful verse. Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. That Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he appears with 5 different features in his role of a devotee. And Mahaprabhu, along with his 4 expansions, so these 5 of them are known as the Pancha Tattva, and each of them represents the aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So although he appears in these 5 forms, there is essentially no difference between them. Each one of them represents some characteristics as described in this verse. So Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam, the Pancha Tattva is Krishna himself in the form of Bhakta Rupa, where he is coming as a devotee, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We know that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although Krishna himself, he appeared in the mood and complexion of Srimati Radharani. So that is his form. Bhakta Swarupa, his first expansion. So that is Nityananda. Bhakta Avatar, that is Advaita. So when we see the picture of Panchatattva, when you are facing Lord Chaitanya, to his left is Nityanand, and to the left of Nityanand is Advaita as Bhakta Avatar. Then we have Bhakta Avataram Bhaktakhyam. Bhaktakhyam is Srivas Pandit to the rightmost when you are facing the Panchatattva deities, and Bhakta Shaktikam, which is just to the right of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when you face the photograph or the deities, is Gadadhar Pandit. So essentially, just like when we see in the altar, Radharani is always standing on the left of Krishna. Similarly, Gadadhar Pandit is in the left of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So our acharyas explain, so this Bhakta Shakti, which is Gadadhar, is non-different from Srimati Radharani. It may appear that if Krishna has accepted the mood of Radha already, then what essentially remains of Radha? Nothing much. But that is not the case when we are talking about the absolute truths and the personalities. Although the essential mood of Radharani was taken by Krishna himself and the complexion, that the mood of conjugal union with Krishna, that did not exist, or it did not manifest in the Chaitanya Leela through Gadadhar Pandit. But that Gadadhar Pandit is still considered to be Srimati Radharani. So it is explained in the Chaitanya Leela, especially in the Chaitanya Bhagavat pastimes, how Gadadhar Pandit and Mahaprabhu used to live very close to each other. Lord Chaitanya was born a year before Gadadhar Pandit. And they were very attached to each other right from childhood. They would always follow each other and so on. Gadadhar Pandit equally was a scholar, but he was more devotional right from the beginning. And although he loved Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sometimes Mahaprabhu's argumentative nature was not much appreciated by the devotees. As they grew up, we have heard the pastimes of how Nimai became Nimai Pandit, and he would pick on arguments from the Vedanta and so on every now and then. So his close associates, although they loved him, sometimes they would maintain some kind of distance as far as arguing with Mahaprabhu is concerned. If he was in a mood of trying to present philosophy in some way, they would keep distance. Because Mahaprabhu did not like to lose at all. So Gadadhar Pandit, he was slightly removed from Mahaprabhu's this aspect of pastimes, but he eagerly wished that someday he knew Lord Chaitanya from childhood, so he had this desire that someday his inner core and self must be revealed to the world. And therefore, in the later pastimes, when Mahaprabhu started talking with various impersonalist philosophers, and then he would reveal the deeper purports of the Vedanta, that it is Srimad Bhagavatam. So Gadadhar decided, now I will eternally follow the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in brief, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Gadadhar was also very much inspired. So Lord Chaitanya was a grahastha and then he took sannyas, but Gadadhar Pandit was a brahmachari and then he later directly took sannyas. So as soon as Mahaprabhu took sannyas and went to Jagannath Puri, Gadadhar Pandit assumed that Lord Chaitanya will never leave Jagannath Puri, and so that he should never be asked to leave Jagannath Puri by anyone, he voluntarily accepted Kshetra Sannyas. Kshetra Sannyas is a form of sannyas where a person decides not to leave a particular territory his entire life, under any circumstances, even in health circumstances and so on. So in Vrindavan also, we know a couple of Babajis and devotees who have taken this kind of Kshetra Sannyas. So even if when they are seriously ill and someone tells them that please go to Delhi for a day, to these bigger cities and visit some good doctors, they won't leave that place. So that is what is specifically called as Kshetra Sannyas. So Gadadhar took Kshetra Sannyas just so that he can serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. But Lord Chaitanya's desire was not simply to relish the pastimes. In his earlier days after sannyas, he was inaugurating this movement of Harinam Sankirtan, and then he decided to travel. So once when he decided to go to Vrindavan, Gadadhar Pandit could not bear this news, and so he got so disturbed. He decided to do something which was unheard of those days. He decided to break the vows of his sannyas, that I will follow Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Vrindavan despite having taken Kshetra Sannyas. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to know of this, he was pretty disturbed. He said, please don't do this because the general society will get confused. And you can imagine in a very cultured environment of Jagannath Puri or in holy places, if in the cities it is still okay today, but in the holy places, if someone changes for any reason, it's a very unacceptable thing. So Mahaprabhu tries to reason Gadadhar that you should not go, you can still serve in separation. That is the whole mood of the essential mood of Jagannath Puri. So, and it is also the essential mood of Lord Jagannath's form. It is Gaur Govind Maharaj and our Acharyas, they say that is the form of Madanakya Mahabhava. Even in the Mahabhava, the highest stage within the Mahabhava is considered the form of Jagannath, where Krishna is in deep separation of his loving devotee, Srimati Radharani. So he says, you should be in Puri and never leave this place. As soon as Gadadhar Pandit heard this, he could not bear this, and he immediately fell unconscious. And seeing him fall unconscious, even Lord Chaitanya would fall unconscious. So it is explained that Mahaprabhu then requested Gadadhar Pandit to be near Tota Gopinath temple and serve there. So Mahaprabhu, sometimes he would spend in his ecstasies, when he saw the ocean of Jagannath Puri, he would be reminded of Yamuna. When he saw this small hill, Chatak Parvat, he was reminded of Govardhan, and many times Mahaprabhu would climb on the Chatak Parvat and just sit there crying and meditating on the pastimes of Krishna. So one time when Gadadhar Pandit came, so Mahaprabhu just started scraping a part of the hill, and then he told Gadadhar, will you do something for me? So Gadadhar said, you are my life and soul. Mahaprabhu just ordered. So Mahaprabhu, scraping the hill, revealed the form of Govinda deities, the form of the head of Krishna was seen, the crown, and then many other devotees joined Mahaprabhu, and then the whole form of Krishna came up, and so Mahaprabhu entrusted the worship of those forms to Gadadhar Pandit. So in Chaitanya Leela, although Krishna is known to be the enjoyer of the five rasas, Sakhya, Madhurya, Vatsalya, Shanta and Dasya, still, essentially every devotee, whether like Kavi Karnapur says that Gadadhar Pandit is Srimati Radharani, then there is Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramanand Rai is Lalita, Vishaka and so on. Although the Rasika devotees are there in Gaura Leela, none of them exhibit conjugal pastimes. So this is because Krishna is in the mood of although he is in the mood of Radharani, but he's sannyasi as Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So none of these esoteric pastimes would suit better. So essentially, Gaur Leela, there is a lot of dasya bhav which is seen. Very rarely you will see some sakhya bhava or some other bhavas. So even though Radharani appeared as Gadadhar Pandit, she does not exhibit the conjugal pastimes in union. She actually exhibits the conjugal pastimes in separation. So essentially in the mood of service. So although conjugal pastimes in the mood of separation are also considered Madhurya, but the exhibition of those pastimes are more in the mood of Dasya. You want to serve as a humble servant and so on. So Mahaprabhu would very often come there, and those pastimes which he could not discuss with the devotees, that he would come and discuss with Gadadhar Pandit. When Acharya explained, the mood of Mahaprabhu was, Mahaprabhu understood that Srimad Bhagavatam is actually the heart of Radharani. So although sadhakas, like all of us conditioned living entities, we learn Srimad Bhagavatam, we learn sadhana bhakti, we also learn the science of prema bhakti and so on. But in the truest and the deepest sense of the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is nothing but the heart of Srimati Radharani. So Mahaprabhu would think, how can Vyas describe the heart of Radharani? How can any other Acharya describe Radharani? In fact, Mahaprabhu is thinking, how can even Krishna describe Radharani's heart? Let me learn about Radharani's heart through Radha herself. And therefore, Mahaprabhu would come to Tota Gopinath to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from Gadadhar Pandit. And specifically, many times he would read the verses. Gadadhar Pandit would read the verses from the Venu Geet, from the Brahmar Geet, the Song of the Bee, the 47th chapter of the 10th canto. So I would like to read some verses just to reflect on the relationship between Gadadhar and Mahaprabhu. So in this chapter, at one point, Radharani gets upset with Krishna that he just disappears, and she's exhibiting the sentiments of blaming Krishna, being ungrateful to their lovers. So Radharani is speaking here, like a hunter, he cruelly shot the king of monkeys with the arrows. This is in the Ramayana pastimes. Then because he was conquered by a woman, he disfigured another woman who came to him with amorous desires. This is when Ram was with Sita in the forest and Surpanakha came to entice Ram. So he cut the nose of Surpanakha. So Radharani is reflecting this. So he cruelly shot the king of monkeys, and then he got conquered by a woman and disfigured another woman who came to him with amorous desire. And even after consuming the gifts of Bali Maharaj, he bound him up with ropes as if he were a crow. So let us give up all friendship with this dark complexioned boy, even if we can't give up talking about him. So here, and then she's saying, to hear about the pastimes that Krishna regularly performs is nectar for the ears. For those who relish just a single drop of nectar even once, their dedication to the material duality is ruin. Many such persons have suddenly given up their wretched homes and families and therefore themselves become wretched, traveling here to Vrindavan to wander about like birds and begging for their living. And then Radharani goes on to criticize Krishna in so many ways. So Mahaprabhu would hear these pastimes from Gadadhar Pandit, and when Gadadhar Pandit ended speaking these pastimes, Gadadhar Pandit would faint, and then also Mahaprabhu would faint. Again, they would get up, they would recite these esoteric pastimes, and both would faint. So this was the part of Gadadhar Pandit playing Radharani's role in Chaitanya Leela, more from exhibiting the pastimes which are from the Srimad Bhagavatam and so on. So this also shows how much love both of them had for each other. Mahaprabhu would hear the pastimes of Dhruva and Prahlad from Ramananda and others, but he would hear these esoteric pastimes from Gadadhar Pandit. So Mahaprabhu asked of Gadadhar Pandit the 3 instructions he gave him, that you should become the most authentic teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam, you should accept that position. And he told him that you please give Diksha for those who are seekers of Prema Bhakti, on the path of devotion, on my behalf to others. And then he also entrusted the worship of Govindji, which he revealed at Chatak Parvat, to Gadadhar Pandit and said that you should, your whole life, you should worship these deities. So it is explained that now we know that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world at the age of 48. At that time, Gadadhar was 47. So as soon as Mahaprabhu left, he left also at Tota Gopinath. One of the versions of the pastime says that he left his body in the body, he merged in the body of Tota Gopinath. So immediately within less than a year, Gadadhar Pandit also out of separation, he also left his body. He winded up his pastimes. So very beautifully, you see in Jagannath Puri, the highest pastimes are revealed in a very different manner. Mahaprabhu has spoken about the essence of these pastimes in the Shikshashtakam prayers which we read every day. So of the 8 verses in the Shikshashtakam prayers, the last 4 verses are of the Madhurya or the highest Prema Bhakti. And the first 4 prayers are about the process or the efforts which a sadhak must make to experience the last 4 verses. So it is about cleaning the hearts, making our mind pure and so on. The verses Cheto Darpana Marjanam, the attitude of Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim and Trinadapi Sunechena and so on. As Kali Yuga is progressing, it is so difficult to follow any of this. In fact, if there is a sadhu with no facilities, people don't even respect that. Unfortunately, in this the modern time, simplicity is not respected or honored, or it is not sought for. Unless and until someone is rich and famous and influential, if a Baba comes from of a very big car and so on, people take him more seriously. But if you just see a Baba walking on the street, no one will take him seriously. Unfortunately, that is what Kali Yuga is. But the mood, the essential mood, is described in these first 4 verses. And the Gundicha Marjanam pastimes are a reflection of those first 4 verses where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu greatly emphasizes. It's a very elaborate pastime. I won't be at all going into the detail at all. But the excitement Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shows in this aspect of cleansing one heart is exhibited in the Gundicha Marjana pastimes, where he exhibits so much excitement to receive Lord Jagannath in Gundicha temple by going with thousands and thousands of devotees and personally brooming the place, personally washing the place, and so on. For many years, in many of the yatras, we have enjoyed those wonderful experiences by participating in Gundicha Marjanam. So any one of you who has not yet ever gone to Jagannath Puri, specifically someday plan a yatra about 4 days before the Rath Yatra, so that one day before you can participate in the Gundicha Marjanam pastime. Before that, there is Netrotsav and so on. The whole mood of Chaitanya Charitamrita and all our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas is more vividly expressed in Jagannath Puri than even in Mayapur, for that matter. So for all of us to learn the deeper aspects and relish the deeper aspects, it is worth going to Jagannath Puri once during the time of the Rath Yatra. So the concept of Gundicha Marjanam is nothing but cleansing our heart first, so that we can invite the Lord. In fact, the Lord is always existing in our heart, but because our heart is impure, we are unable to see, and therefore the cleansing process must be taken up by a sadhaka, so that we can relish the highest experiences as exhibited by Gadadhar Pandit. So interestingly, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his own home in Godruma Dweep, which is known as Swananda Sukhada Kunja, he established the deities of, he established the seva of Gaur Gadadhar in his own place. So Gaur Gadadhar deities are Bhaktivinoda Thakur's personal deities, which he established there. So there is a very nice bhajan. I would like to read the bhajan and the translation, just as a memory, something to speak on Bhaktivinoda Thakur connected to Gaur Gadadhar. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes, Haha mora gaura kishora kabe doya kori shri godruma bane dekha dibe mana chora. Oh my most youthful Gaur Kishore, when will you be merciful and show yourself to me, thus stilling my mind within the forest of Godrum. Ananda Sukhada Kunjera Bhitore, Gadadhare Vame Kori, Kanchana Barana Chachara Chikura Natana Suvesha Dori. So he says that within the grove of Ananda Sukhada Kunja, which is his place, you are standing with Gadadhar on your left side. So those of you who have been to Godrum Dev, who have seen Gaur Gadadhar deities, you will be able to see that Gadadhar is on the left, representing like Radharani is always standing on the left of Krishna in that manner. So you are radiating the effulgence of pure gold. With beautiful curling hair, you are wearing the fine dresses of a dramatic actor. Dekhite dekhite Shri Radha Madhava Rupete Koribe Ala Sakhi Gana Sangye Koribe Natana Galete Mohana Mala. In an instant, Shri Radha Madhava will appear and brilliantly illuminate the entire scene. Accompanied by all of their confidential friends and associates, they will dance with their necks decorated with various types of golden necklaces. Ananga Manjari Sadoya Hoya Ei Dase Koriti Dhori Duhe Nivedibe Duhara Madhuri Heribo Nayana Bhari. He writes further, the merciful Ananga Manjari, catching the hands of this maid servant, will take me to offer me in devotion unto Shri Shri Radha Madhav, and my eyes will be brimming with pleasure to behold the beauty and sweetness of them both. So this prayer is written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Kalyan Kalpataru, one of the highest forms of separation it is categorized in the highest forms of separation. So unto Gaur Gadadhar in his own place at Godramadi. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur took a lot of inspiration from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit, and he was the one who inspired this whole concept that the preaching should spread all over the world. There should be Namahatta preachings. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur took that effort further ahead, and Srila Prabhupada could successfully exhibit it all over the world. In fact, if you follow Prabhupada's teachings and purports, and if you read Bhakti Vinod Thakur's teachings and purports, you will see that Prabhupada was more in the mood of Bhakti Vinod Thakur than Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Maybe it's my speculation. Maybe both of them devotees, both of them had also been grihasthas and very successful businessmen. So their outlook and perspective towards Krishna consciousness is slightly different than, in the application part is slightly different than Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was more like a lion guru, very strict and so on. Now, Prabhupada appears to be more accommodating. Bhakti Vinod Thakur was also that kind of person. So many things, but he is also credited, Bhakti Vinod Thakur is credited of having revived Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace in Yogapeeth. And it was he who had envisioned that someday this message will go all over the world. He envisioned that people from all over the world will come to Mayapur and be glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and recognizing the highest ecstasies of Krishna through Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, in a way, we are very fortunate to be in this moment. In fact, personally, when I read Srimad Bhagavatam, I don't develop as much as gratitude as much as I feel when I read Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because the whole mood of the movement and Lord Chaitanya and Radha Krishna start making more sense through these wonderful pastimes. So in conclusion, I would like to read Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's comments on Gadadhar Pandit. He says, Srila Gadadhar Pandit Goswami is the chief amongst the most intimate devotees of Lord Chaitanya. He is the fountainhead of the entire Shakti Tattva and thus present equally in Mahaprabhu's Leelas in Navadvip and Nilachala. His childhood home was in Navadvip. Later he took sannyas. He went to live in Jagannath Puri in a garden by the seashore. Pure devotees who wish to enter into the Madhurya Ras of worship to Radha and Govinda, they take shelter of Gadadhar Pandit and are known as Gauranga Mahaprabhu's intimate devotees. Those devotees who are not so inclined to take shelter, of Nityanand Prabhu and engage in, they take shelter of Nityanand Prabhu and engage in the pure devotional service in his mood. Some of Mahaprabhu's devotees, such as Narhari, were followers of Gadadhar Pandit Goswami. They took refuge in him because they knew him to be the dearest associate and thus worthy of their service. Some devotees therefore call Chaitanya the life of Nityananda, while others they call him the life of Gadadhar. Shri Gadadhar Pandit Goswami ki jai. Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we have about 7-10 minutes. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Can you hear us okay? No?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So there's a distinction, a fantastic class about the different qualities of relationships in Krishna consciousness. And in the Vrindavan Leela, the whole mood is to be there with Krishna and the loving exchanges. And then we see Lord Chaitanya's mood, which Srila Prabhupada is broadcasting, is giving Krishna consciousness, reaching out, distributing, inviting, introducing people. And Lord Ramachandra is killing Ravana. Krishna is killing demons. But Lord Chaitanya wants Ravana to become a devotee. Right? Kind of interesting, to be contacting people and drawing them into the experience of Krishna consciousness. Giving Krishna consciousness. Not just to be Krishna conscious, but to give Krishna consciousness. That's our life's breath, and that's Srila Prabhupada's mood. Right? Anyway, this is a small comment over to Srila Prabhupada.
Jagannath Priya Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
We have a question. How come Krishna revealed his most confidential knowledge within one particular cultural context? Why was the message not delivered more universally to, for example, to pygmies in Africa? Why were they excluded from this higher aspects of love of God? A weird question, but sometimes people ask.
Yeah, so when Prabhupada was asked a similar question, that if Lord Chaitanya traveled all over India preaching the holy names, why didn't he move out to other places? So Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya left the West for me. So very humorously he said, and probably it's true in this grand scheme of things, because as time is progressing, at least to me, it just appears miracle. It's unbelievable, unthinkable, inconceivable, whatever is happening, despite so many challenges and obstacles, hurdles, internal and external conflicts. The preaching is somehow going on. And how it is going, what is driving it, it's just impossible to conceive. So instead of thinking, I would rather not think that way, that Mahaprabhu did not reach out to pygmies or in the land of Middle East or Africa or Europe or so on. Just like Mahaprabhu expanded through his associates like Bhakta Avatar, Bhaktakhya, Bhakta Shakti and so on. So the preaching movement is his own personal energy, his Nija Shakti, because of which it is going on. And I think the followers should someday understand that most of the things which we are doing is not because we just learned and saw somebody read Bhagavatam, and therefore now after a few days of reading Gita and Bhagavad, I also want to preach. I have been traveling last 27 years to some selected parts of the world, and I can say that the Ramanuj Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, the Shankar Sampradaya, so many Sampradayas, their own strong, powerful preachers are traveling and preaching and doing all sorts of programs, but none of them could expand, or none of their followers have that inspiration or that energy which the followers of Lord Chaitanya are having, or rather somehow the followers of ISKCON are having. It may appear very institutional what I am saying, but I'm not limiting it to the institution. Somehow I still find it inconceivable that a newcomer comes to our programs and within few months he has this desire to give Krishna consciousness to others. Why do other devotees from other sampradayas learning Gita and Bhagavad and so on, why don't they have this desire to spread or give to others? Why they don't want to take the headache of doing Bhakti Vriksha every week, arranging programs in their house, arranging cooking, taking care of devotees' troubles and relationships, and managing egos and so on, and continue. It is inconceivable the number of bhakti vrikshas which we have all over the world, in places where there are no temples. Still there are 10 bhakti vrikshas, 5-6 devotees coming, and if you see, they have not spent years reading Gita or years reading Bhagavatam, hardly a few months. So sometimes I wonder that what is there which drives them. So I have come to this conclusion: it is the Bhakta Shakti, the Lord Chaitanya's energies which are flowing through this movement, and they are flowing through the devotees. Although we are severely limited, conditioned, and so on, there are somehow, because if somehow, even if with all the struggles, one is somehow chanting and doing all these things, the Shakti flows through you. So I understand that Lord Chaitanya did not reach out to pygmies explicitly in person, but this is how he reached out actually to all of us in that manner. This is my little bit of view, my humble.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, somehow it's available today. So let's go for it. By Srila Prabhupada's grace, it's available. If we're sincere. Narottam Nitai Prabhu has his hand up.
Nonetheless, Prabhuji, I wanted to ask a question in terms of styles of understanding, and the question I have is like, when we compare languages like Sanskrit to Bengali, we can see that Sanskrit is very grammatical, very much more structured. Also, although it sounds very beautiful, and Bengali is a much more like free flowing, more like artistic, more similar grammatical structures than maybe Hindi. Um, so in that I guess the reason I'm asking this is, can we try to understand that maybe Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was is very scholarly and very well, like, properly, like, I guess, from early childhood, very trained properly as a Brahmana Vaishnava, um, in that sense, and then um, and then we can say that Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's our acharya too, but in the sense he is more, um, in the form of like you said, more like artistic in the sense of trying to understand it. I don't know if I'm using the right words, but but um but in like, I don't know. I think I'm going too many comparisons. But if you understand what I'm trying to say, more like,
Yeah.
yeah, for those.
So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, more than his philosophical works, he's more recognized for his poems and so on. Because he was more in the world, he was a judge. He dealt with so many issues on a daily basis, as for a regular person. So he has a different approach. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also referred to the Vaishnava commentaries in Bengali, and so did Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In fact, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has written purports to Chaitanya Bhagavat. So he knew Bengali also very well. Bengali is also a structured language, not of course as much as Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is very ancient from that point of view. But yeah, in a way, it is because he's a sannyasi, he has learned Vedanta and so many other things. So he has a childhood brahmachari, and then sannyasi will have a different energy and outlook towards the world. So that is what he exhibits. But so he and his father, Bhaktivinoda, sometimes had argument, because Bhaktivinoda wanted his son to become a grahastha. And he said, you can become a nice grahastha and become a pure devotee, but Bhaktisiddhanta was totally against it. So he would disobey his father on that particular point, although he respected him. So there are these are personality differences in the manner of in which how they have been brought up, but not necessarily language limitations. Because most of our Gaudiya Vaishnava literature is in Bengali, rendered for common masses.
Thank you. Speaking of poetry, our resident Kaviraj Bhima Prabhu has his hand up. Bhima Prabhu, please. We can't hear you, Bhima Prabhu.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My phone. Very quickly before the conch blows, or he hasn't. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj told Radhanath Swami when Bhakti Tirtha was on his last days, he was shaking with the pain that he was going through. But we'll talk about this afterwards. Hare Krishna.
Enam Bhaktam Aravindagalaya Tacham Bhagavatam Samasitam Pura Sundaram Kandar Kamaniya Vishesha Shobha Hari Purusha Govinda Hari Purusha Tamaham Bhajami Govinda Hari Purusha Angriyasya Sakalam Niyaya Vidimati Asyanti Bhakti Kayanti Chiram Jayanti Anandachimaya Sadhu Angriyasya Govinda Hari Purusha Tamaham Bhajami 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 Govinda. Jai Shri Shri Radha Murli Dhar Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can obtain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet and pray all reverence. By his grace, from the translation of the suffering, and the faith and mercy of Krishna, I wish to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, and by him ignorance is destroyed. Vedic scriptures sing his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. Oh, Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Tago Premanandi.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Okay, welcome to the Afterglow. Bhima Prabhu, what did Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj tell Radhanath Maharaj during his final days?
He was, even though he was racked with great pain from the cancer, which had spread to like 90% of his body, Maharaj said that Bhakti Tirtha was smiling, great big smile with like light in his eyes, you know, you can imagine. And he said, first, we all know, he says, it doesn't get any better than this, which is wild, right? I mean, the pain, the cancer, his last days, and yet he was smiling, was overjoyed, and told Radhanath Swami, it doesn't get any better than this. And what he said afterwards was, we are living in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, that what we are doing now in the movement and with Srila Prabhupada's movement, and in particular, like let us just take Ratha Yatra as an example, that it's we can look at it philosophically, but in reality, we are doing exactly what Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, and the Panchatattva. It's all happening now. That we're part of that story. It's like an echo. It's like an immediate echo. It was only 500 years ago, only. And considering how often we get a chance to have Krishna descend in such a merciful form, but that all we're doing now, that if we can always remember that we are in that pastime, and that when we engage in Harinam together as a congregation, whether it be in the temple or on the streets, that it is the self same thing that we read about in Lord Chaitanya's Charitamrita. And it's like Prabhu was saying in his lecture, that he so much more resonates with Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, of course. And we all do. And that we all have to understand that in as much as we're not in the middle of the kirtan, dancing around, in as much as we're not there, we are not in the story. So we should always make sure not to take lightly, the value and the continuation of the only thing that Lord Chaitanya ever asked us to do. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Great point. Lord Chaitanya's Leela is unfolding now, and it's our chance and opportunity to take part in it sincerely, wholeheartedly. One time, Srila Prabhupada said that Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a pure Vaishnava, and he could have converted the whole world into Krishna consciousness all by himself. And then somebody from the audience asked Srila Prabhupada, so why didn't he do that then? And Srila Prabhupada said, because he left some service for us to do. So let's reach out to the people, like Adipurusha Prabhu said. Let's reach out to those who haven't come in contact with bhakti yet. Let's do it. Let's be what we think is missing in this world. Let's be it. Okay, Min has her hand up, followed by Narottam Nitai Prabhu.
Thank you. I was thinking about the question you asked Ananda Bihari about why did Krishna only gave specific group of people this Lord Chaitanya, and it's so interesting. I've never really asked that question, but this spring when I was reading the Chaitanya Bhagavat, at some point, I think it was a place where Advaita Acharya is told that Lord Chaitanya is here. And in my mind, I thought he was going to have a reaction of just jumping up and down. Oh, finally, he's arrived. But on the contrary, he responds by becoming very sober and saying, well, I'll have to go check. And I'm not really sure why, but at that moment, I just felt this like amazing sense of how Advaita Charya just felt so real to me as a real person. And in that second, I had this incredibly overwhelming sense of reading something so confidential. And, we think about what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, telling Arjuna, I'm giving you confidential knowledge, but still, this is even more confidential. Still, this is even more confidential. So he unfolds the reality of the truth more and more and more. And it was really reading the Chaitanya Bhagavat where I felt that so strongly, where I felt that, wow, Krishna is just giving us such a confidential knowledge. And to be privy to that, I just felt so thankful that I get to hear in some ways. And when we, read the Chaitanya Charitamrita, just have this sense that it's kind of crazily amazing that we get to hear the motivation, the mind of God and motivations of the devotees for calling on God to come to us. And here we are sitting in my comfortable chair with the AC. Get to hear about that and contemplate on that. It's just so amazing. I remember thinking, how many people get to hear this in the world? Like literally, I asked myself, how many? I don't think that many, but I don't know. It's just
1 in a million.
Mm.
There's a verse that describes the proportion. It's I
Isn't
have to
that
look it up. Jeffrey, can you look that up? Only one knows me in truth, like 1 of 1,000, and out of those ones, only one, something like that. You're speaking Shastra, man.
I just feel I don't feel necessarily special. I just feel so incredibly fortunate.
Yeah, not special, fortunate. That's the word. Thank you, man. Okay, Narottam Nitai Prabhu.
Nonetheless, I just wanted to share something. I found my bead bag yesterday with was signed by Undadurma Maharaj. I don't know if I can show you. So his signature is still there. He was here in Detroit, and after he left, next week, after he was here, he was still here the next week. It rains. It poured so much in Detroit. I think he's originally from Detroit, and so many Harinams and everything. And after he was there later on, another disciple of Jayapataka Maharaj came, and we were able to start, the Harmony Collective, which is like a small center here, an extension of the Mercy of Shri Sri Radha Kunjabari. So, anyways, I just wanted to say that Mahaprabhu's mercy is like so real, and it can be seen with like when it rains in our heart, and in so many ways. There was a time in, I think, 2014, and where we had celebrated Mahaprabhu's appearance day, and I was at a convenience store, and I was relatively new to Bhakti. And I just texted on my phone that I love snow, just with that text, and I sent it to Krishna. I didn't have a number to send it to. I just sent it to Krishna, send it to Krishna, and literally 5 to 10 minutes later, when I'm driving, it snowed so much that it was like half a feet of snow. I don't know, Prabhuji, but I don't know if this is like real or not. But this has just been my experience, so I thought I'll share, and not to be too sentimental, but yeah, I just wanted to share that it's so real, and it usually always rains or a day before Rath Yatra
here to Michigan. So, don't know. Thank you, Narottam Prabhu. Krishna is real, for sure. And he is aware of us. Be aware that Krishna is aware of you, Vaisheshika Prabhu says. How wonderful is Krishna that he is aware of us. Look at how many cars are driving in New York. And there's one Krishna mobile with a devotee with a tilak on his forehead, the Vaishnava at the wheel. See? Those racks are for Prashanam. Only one Krishna mobile. Adipusha Prabhu, would you like to say something?
Well, we offer a prayer to Srila Prabhupada what to say, what he'd like us to say. We feel moved to comment on Min's comment about how lucky we are. And then the following devotee commenting on, what you said, Bhagavan, the Bhagavad Gita verse said, one among thousands of men, after many lives, comes to devotional service and hardly one knows him in truth. But actually, Krishna is working perfectly in everyone's life at every second. It's not that he's not taking care of everybody, even though there's billions of living entities. He's there for us. He's giving us learning experiences. He's calling us, and he's providing a way for all of us to go forward. And that's really how wonderful is Krishna. And the other day, Uncle Bhima gave some really good advice to Min about how if we feel attracted to the cinema and these video, that actually we can dive into that. And it's not just watching it or not watching it, but why to watch it. And if we attend musical performances or plays or film with the intention of how to appreciate this art form and then use it in Krishna service, it's so powerful, especially at this time, the videos and the films, the costumes, the music, the dialogue, the actors, the scenery, these art forms have been enhanced to a superlative degree. They're so fantastic. And then if we can do that for Krishna, it changed the world. It's we have to use all these tools, the internet, the music, whatever we've got. Let's throw it all into the pushing on Lord Chaitanya's movement, right? Not just renouncing it, but actually engaging it and learning from the way other people have done it so that we can apply that in preaching. Okay.
Thank you, Adipusha Prabhu.
Glory to Prabhupada.
One time, Adipusha Prabhu was at the front desk doing service at the hostel, and I looked over his shoulder to see what he's looking at, what was on his computer screen, and it was this Jesus cartoons about Jesus from the 70s. Those very sincere cartoons about Jesus, and I was like, yeah, this is a real devotee. He's not watching nonsense. He's watching Jesus cartoons, engaging this form of devotion in spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement. This is where all those quotes are coming from, dear devotees. All those Jesus quotes are coming from those cartoons about Jesus. Is that where you picked those up, Adipusha Prabhu?
All beautiful and mighty things are coming, but a spark of Krishna's splendor. Krishna's providing, Prabhupada's bringing it to us, and Krishna's empowering so many different religious people to use the medium available to
Bhima Prabhu
present
looks
the
like King
truth.
David from that cartoon a little bit.
Hmm?
Bhima Prabhu looks
Yeah,
like a character.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I need a harem like King David. I didn't say that. I didn't just say that. It's so funny because on 8th Avenue, our crew of devotees, dacoits, all of us, one and all, it is like a cartoon all day long. That's the greatest thing, Harinam isn't just chanting the holy names in congregation. It's also laughing in congregation, having a light heart, open-minded. We're all on a mission.
Uh-oh.
We lost you, Bima.
Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be back. Min has her hand up. Min, you need to get out of your comfortable room, turn off your AC, jump out of your chair, and give it to others. Don't stop at feeling fortunate. Give it to others, like Adipusha Prabhu says.
Uh, yes, I'll pray for it. I want so Pima is not here because I really want Pima to hear what I wanted to share. It pertains to Adipusha just reminded me that I need to share it with Pima. So I'll wait until maybe that will be tomorrow. And it pertains to what he.
He's back. He's back. Bhima is back. Bhima Prabhu, are you back?
Can you hear us, Bhima? No.
His phone might have died.
Okay.
Oh, he's here. He's here in class. But yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, I'll share maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you, Min. Karen, Isaiah, Annabelle, it's your turn to glorify Krishna as loud as you can. Unmute first.
Sorry, Annabelle has summer camp, and so we're all like brushing our teeth. We have to go for summer camp.
Chanting while brushing teeth. That's the next level. Isaiah Prabhu is beyond rules and regulation. He transcended it all. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone
Hare
on this
Krishna.
call. We love you. We need you. Have a wonderful day. Reach out to people. If you feel fortunate, give it to others. That's my takeaway. Hare Krishna. Nice seeing you, Venu Madhuri. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is that your cubicle, Venu Madhuri? Yes? Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna.